Well, I am showing that it is a couple minutes after noon, so I think we will go ahead and get started. So welcome to Growing Readers Together. This is a webinar with the Garfield County Library. Just to let you know a little bit about Growing Readers Together, it is a 7-year project of the state library that provided direct grants to libraries funded by the Buell Foundation. So GRT focuses on supporting library professionals who are developing services to informal family, friend, and neighbor caregivers of young children in their communities. And Quick Bites is a series of 20-minute talks on various topics related to early childhood, early learning, and working with FFN caregivers in the library. And this year, we're hosting some of our grantees like Amy today, who are going to share the work that they've done in their libraries through Growing Readers Together. So Becky, I will turn it over to you.
Right, and I have the honor of introducing Amy Tanazi, who's our speaker today. And Amy is a branch manager in Rifle, which is in Rifle, Colorado, which is in Garfield County. And not only is Amy just branch manager there, but also Amy oversaw or has been overseeing all 6 branches, the early literacy grant at all 6 branches in Garfield County, which is a very geographically large county. So I know it's like over 52 miles radius of the different branches that she has been working with. So anyhow, Amy today is going to be doing our session on autism acceptance and inclusion, supporting children with autism in public libraries. And in this quick bite, we will find out why it's so important to find ways to make public libraries a welcoming space for children with autism and learn some practical ideas on how to get started. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy. And Amy, I'll be kind of monitoring chat and stuff too. So as people have questions, feel free to put your questions in chat and or unmute too, because we're a small group. So either way works.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in for this Quick Bites. As Rebecca said, my name is Amy Tanazi, and I am a branch manager at Garfield County Public Library District Rifle Branch. I've been with the district for about 17 years now. The majority of that time was as the Rifle Branch Youth Services Coordinator, and it's been within the past 2 years that I've been the branch manager. The quick bite that I'm doing today is on autism acceptance and inclusion, supporting children with autism in public libraries. The reason why I chose this subject, because I don't claim to be an expert at this. And in fact, what I'm doing is I've been researching how my branch and Rifle can start providing services for children with autism, because it's not something that we've done, and district-wide, it's not something that we've done a whole lot. So in 2024, it's something I wanted to focus on. So I've, been finding a lot of information about it and looking into it. And that's why I decided to do the quick bite on this particular subject. So again, I'm not an expert, but I'm learning. So let's get started. All right. So I think first of all, just a little bit of information on what is autism. Autism or autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person perceives the world, how they process information, and how they interact with others. It is often characterized by a wide range of challenges and strengths, leading to a spectrum of symptoms and abilities. Some of the key features of autism include difficulties in social communications and interactions, repetitive behaviors or interests, and a preference for routine and predictability. Individuals with autism may also exhibit sensory sensitivities, meaning that they may be over or undersensitive to certain stimuli like lights, sounds, or textures. And autism can affect individuals regardless of race, ethnicity, or social background, though it has been found to be nearly 5 times higher in boys than in girls. It's also important to note that autism is called a spectrum disorder because that means that the challenges and strengths will vary widely among individuals. Some people with autism may have exceptional abilities in certain areas, such as mathematics, music, or visual processing, while others may face significant challenges in everyday activities. So, big question, why is it so important for libraries to provide services, not only for children, but individuals with autism? Um, Autism is now the second most commonly diagnosed serious developmental disability, and the number of children identified as autistic continues to grow. Statistics right now say that approximately 1 in 36 children is diagnosed with autism a year. And these children often struggle with emergent literacy skills. So that means it places them among some of the most in need of our early literacy services that we provide in libraries. Public libraries can also play a pivotal role in addressing the unique needs of autistic children by cultivating a supportive and inclusive environment. Therefore, it is crucial that we recognize and respond to the unique requirements of this underserved group. And another thing that would be important is efforts should be made to provide chances for these children and their families to learn, socialize, and connect with others who understand their unique challenges. One thing that often is a problem that autistic children and their families might face numerous barriers to inclusion in libraries. These obstacles can take many forms, ranging from physical barriers such as bright lights, loud sounds, and crowded spaces, and lack of accommodations such as visual supports and adaptive technology, to less tangible factors such as societal attitudes or library policies that create difficulties for them engaging with library resources and services. A simple example of this might be misunderstanding of behaviors, the pressure to conform, and a lack of education and awareness on the part of staff and the public. Due to these barriers, these families may feel very unwelcome and avoid coming to the library altogether. So some key areas of concern in regards to these barriers. The lack of understanding and awareness about autism leads to many challenges for children and their families, including physical barriers. Libraries may not be physically accessible for individuals with mobility challenges or sensory sensitivities. A lack of a designated sensory-friendly spaces can contribute to discomfort and may discourage individuals with sensory sensitivities from fully engaging with library resources and activities. Limited resources and programming. Many libraries lack specialized books, educational materials, and multimedia resources that cater to the diverse learning styles and interests of individuals with autism. Limited availability of sensory-friendly events or programs specifically designed for individuals with autism may also hinder their participation. The social stigma is also a big one. Negative attitudes from library staff, such as a lack of understanding, misunderstanding of behaviors, impatience, a failure to accommodate their needs, can contribute to a less inclusive environment. And negative reactions or comments from other library patrons can create uncomfortable and stigmatizing experiences for families with individuals with autism. Inflexible policies. Some library policies may be designed without considering the diverse abilities, behaviors, and needs of individuals with autism. This lack of flexibility can unintentionally create barriers to access and participation. A strict quiet library policy is one example of something that may pose challenges for children with autism. Policies that emphasize quiet and rigid behavior standards may not account for the varied ways that individuals with autism self-regulate, communicate, or express themselves. Noise and sensory overload. Individuals with autism often experience sensory sensitivities, making them more susceptible to being overwhelmed by auditory stimuli, bright lights, or other sensory inputs. The noise and sensory overload in libraries can lead to discomfort, anxiety, and challenges in focusing or engaging with library resources. Limited collaboration. Advocacy groups are often composed of individuals with a deep understanding of the unique needs and challenges faced by those on the autism spectrum. These groups can provide valuable insights into creating a more inclusive library environment, offering suggestions on programming, resources, and information on services tailored to individuals with autism and their families. Embracing these partnerships can lead to a more inclusive services better informed programming, and a stronger sense of community within the library environment. So how can libraries get started? If your library doesn't currently offer specific services or accommodations for these children and their families, it might seem overwhelming how to get started. But there are some simple things that you can do that perhaps taken a little bit at a time won't feel so overwhelming. First and foremost, I think that providing staff education would be very important. One way you can help raise autism awareness in your library staff is to provide autism-specific training. This training should encompass understanding autism, identifying its signs, suggesting accommodations, and adapting library programs for accessibility. The goal is not only to equip your staff with service-related insights, but to also provide tools to instill confidence and competence in their interactions with individuals with autism. I did provide a resource sheet for this quick bite. And within that resource sheet, you will find several links to some comprehensive staff training modules on autism acceptance and inclusion training and an autism inclusive customer services training.
Yeah, Christine did, she uploaded it.
Okay, great.
Noticed in the chat earlier, and if people joined us later, perhaps we can reshare again, but because we're up to numerous, we got 12 people now, so sorry to interrupt, but yeah, keep going, Amy, sorry.
Okay, great. Yeah, the trainings I included on there are really great and they're free, and I thought they were really good training. So
yeah,
I haven't shared that with my staff yet, but that is my plan. Okay, so sensory story times. Sensory story times for children with autism aim to create a positive and inclusive learning environment that addresses the unique sensory needs of participants. The primary goals include engaging children through sensory experiences, reducing sensory overload, and fostering inclusivity by accommodating diverse sensory preferences. These sessions also focus on encouraging social interaction and communication skills, providing opportunities for children to express themselves, as well as providing a space to do so. This is something else I've included on the resource sheet are some, there's a sensory storytime training module, and then just like a link to a helpful storytime outline for a sensory storytime. All right. Purchasing special technology such as computer tablets is helpful. These devices offer a variety of educational apps and software that cater specifically to the needs of autistic children. These apps can help improve their cognitive skills, language development, and social interaction. There's also quite a few apps out there that are designed to assist autistic children with communication, social skills, and behavior management. Some of the popular ones, which I also have included on that resource sheet, are ABC Kids Tracing and Phonics, First, Then Visual Schedule HD, and I Create Social Skills Stories. And then another thing that goes along with this would be providing noise cancellation headphones for your children's area, your children's computers, or perhaps the tablets that have these apps on them. Many autistic children are sensitive to loud noises and may become overwhelmed easily. So noise canceling headphones can help reduce the distractions and create a more peaceful environment for learning and play. All right. Using social stories and visual schedules could be quite helpful. They're valuable tools that are used in the support and education of children with ASD. These tools are designed to enhance communication, foster understanding, and provide structure for individuals with autism. Social stories are short personal narratives that describe social situations, activities, or concepts in a clear and sequential manner. The primary goal of social stories is to help individuals with autism understand social cues, expectations, and appropriate behaviors in various situations. They are often used to prepare individuals for new experiences, address challenging behaviors, or teach social skills by providing a script for appropriate actions. Visual schedules use visual aids such as pictures, symbols, or icons to represent the sequence of activities or events in a given time frame. Visual schedules also help individuals with autism anticipate and understand what will happen next, which reduces the anxiety and promotes independence in daily routines. In a library setting, they're often used during sensory story times because children on the spectrum like to know what's coming up. And so a visual schedule is a simple pictorial representation that helps communicate what will take place in story time. And again, on that resource sheet, you'll find some links to some samples of social stories and some templates also.
Yeah, it's cool.
Create a quiet corner in the library. Autistic children often have difficulty processing sensory information, such as loud noises or bright lights, which can lead to overwhelm and meltdowns. A quiet corner can offer a reprieve from the sensory overload of the library, allowing them to take a break and recharge. Additionally, a quiet corner can provide a sense of structure and routine, which can be comforting for autistic children who may benefit from predictability and familiarity. The photo that you see here is a little quiet corner that we recently installed in our branch. We purchased that from School Outfitters.
It's so cute. Is that it there in Rifle?
It's
Amy?
in Rifle. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, and another one that is actually quite important would be allowing families to come in before or after your normal business hours. There are many benefits that come from providing these specialized hours. They demonstrate a commitment to inclusivity. Families and children with autism often face unique challenges in public spaces, so providing dedicated hours can give them a chance to access library resources in a more comfortable setting. Providing this accommodation will also contribute to a sensory-friendly environment by minimizing stimuli like noise and bright lights, which can be overwhelming for these individuals. Given that libraries are often busy places, the challenge is greater for those who prefer quieter and less crowded spaces. So by designing these specific times as specialized hours, the libraries can effectively reduce the overall crowd, making it more manageable for families with children on the autism spectrum. This accommodation also enables families to enjoy library resources without the usual environmental challenges. I think it also can help provide an opportunity for these families to connect with each other. And this sense of community can be valuable for sharing experiences, resources, and support. It also fosters a supportive network within the local community.
Good differentiation too. Yeah, it's awesome.
And partnering with local groups that serve children with autism can be a very important thing too. That gives you increased accessibility. You can work with the autism service organizations to enhance our facilities and services, making them more accessible to these individuals. It can include collaborating on sensory-friendly spaces, specialized resources, and helping train staff to assist patrons with autism. Can also collaborate with coming up with a specialized programming. It can include sensory-friendly story times, workshops, or any other inclusive activities. It also provides community engagement because partnering with autism service organizations fosters this engagement and inclusivity. It sends a positive message to the community that the library is committed to serving all members, regardless of their abilities or neurodiversity. It can also be a good collaboration for educational resources. We can benefit from the expertise of these organizations in curating and providing educational resources related to autism spectrum disorders, and it can help library staff and community members gain a better understanding. Collaborating can also help with staff training. It enables library staff to receive training on how to interact effectively with individuals, and it can also improve customer service and create a more welcoming environment. By partnering with autism service organizations, libraries can also tap into existing networks and support systems for individuals with autism and their families. And this collaboration leads to a more connected and supported supportive community. Resource sharing, that's also a great one. Libraries can share resources with autism service organizations and vice versa. You can share the knowledge on books, educational materials, and information about the local services and programs that would benefit our patrons with autism and their families. And so, as I said, I'm not an expert on this subject. And in fact, I'm only getting started on how I want to implement this in my library and rifle. My youth services coordinator, Karina Baker, you'll see her email on this slide. She has worked in another place where she did sensory story time, so she has some knowledge on that, and she's also taking some training so that we can launch this in 2024. We're gonna consider the, changing whatever days that these sensory story times take place, having that be the day where we have the early hours where they can come in, use the library, and then go to the story time. I think that's the little reading nook. I've bought that, so that's where I'm getting started. I've also partnered with a local autism group, and one of their staff members will be coming to our library after the holidays, probably in February, to evaluate our space and give us some ideas on what all we can do and how to get started beyond what I've already said. So if there are any libraries out there that currently are providing autism services, I'd love to hear from you. You'll see my email up there. I'd like to hear what you have done, how it has worked for you. Is there any specific ways that you've gotten the message out to the community that's worked for you? So that's it.
That was awesome, Amy. Thank you. Does anyone, I've been kind of monitoring chat. We've had several positive, a lot of people really liked your space, the little quiet space that you've included in your library. That's great. Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, we just got that. Like, I've had it on the floor for probably about a week.
And I would suspect that's going to appeal to a wide variety,
Yeah.
not only those on the autism spectrum,
That's right.
but
Everybody is going to love it.
Yeah, I can just see little kids just wanting to hide in there, and that's great. And we've got a comment from Jen. Do parents need to register? Do patrons need to register? How do you keep the population low in regards to letting patrons in before or after hours?
Yeah. And for me, honestly, that's a question that I would have also. Therefore, that's why I would love to hear from other libraries who are doing this and just find out what do they do? How do they monitor that? Because I think it would be important that it is the children and their families that are using the library during that time and no one else. Any children with families with disabilities also, I would say.
And that makes me wonder too, Amy, that there's a former work, when I was a teacher librarian, there was a woman that kind of oversaw the teacher librarians in our district. She herself wasn't a librarian, but a technology specialist. She's recently become the director of Autism Center of Colorado.
Okay.
And because her son is very high on the autism spectrum, and I don't know. So I don't know if organizations like that would be able to, help provide some guidance too. Because she used to work with librarians, I know she has a strong passion for us librarians. So anyhow.
Yeah, and the organization that I've been talking to and working with is located up in Carbondale. I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce Ascendio, I believe is what it's called. And I'm also working with the person there that helps kids after they've graduated high school find jobs. And I believe, I don't know when this will take place, but there's an individual that would like to experience working in the library. So we're going to find a place for that person on our staff to give them some experience in the library and decide if that's something that they want to continue with, go forward with. So that's another great thing that I'm looking forward to.
Great. Well, this was awesome. And I'm really appreciating your journey and your share of the resources, which I think Thanks, Christine, for sharing that. I'm just doing one more minute here. We're almost to the end of our time, but any other questions? As I'm monitoring. And for those who maybe joined us a little late, and for those that you all know who couldn't join us today, which closer to the holidays, sometimes it's a challenge. We will be sharing out the recording, in this case, likely more in the new year, because we've got a lot of people who do that infrastructure of sharing our recordings out who are out for the holidays this next week and a half. So yeah, and we're getting a lot of good feedback, Amy, on gratitude for this. So we really do appreciate your hard work in this and doing this with us. And to those of you who joined us, and I wish everyone a happy holiday ahead.
Yes.
Great way to end the year. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, thank you.